Hey friends all over the world, Kanye West said in a recorded statement that his mother, Donda, was sacrificed. And I want to expose this tonight. You know, many of you have seen my videos, many of you have heard about Kanye and what's going on, and there's different opinions about him. Some people think he's just having a psychotic break. Some people think he's going crazy. Some people think he's traumatized by the death of his mother. And I do believe that there could be a myriad of things going on. But I want to speak about the truth about evil altars. Evil altars. And I need you to hear this because this is very, very real. Kanye said, whether you like him or not, whether you believe him or not, he said out of his mouth in a very serendipitous turn of an interview or line of questioning, he says his mother was sacrificed. In fact, I watched a video of a comedian who actually said out of his mouth, he made a joke about the death of Kanye's mother. Made a joke about the death of Kanye's mother. This was something that was said in the media. And I want to tell you something. Evil altars are real. If you don't believe this, you don't understand that altars are real, because altars require sacrifice. Altars are places of devotion and places of visitation. And depending on the kind of altar it is, depending on the God the altar is erected to, determines what sacrifices are required. And I've been telling you, y'all don't hear what I'm saying. I've been telling you that these evil altars require servicing. And this is why we are seeing such premature death. We are seeing things that don't make any sense. In fact, I'll give an example. Jennifer Hudson had just become the American Idol. I don't know if she was American Idol or runner-up in the American Idol. I can't remember. But what happens is immediately after she won, her family members were brutally murdered in a home invasion. I don't know if you remember that. They were brutally murdered in a home invasion. Donda West, his mother, goes in for a breast augmentation surgery and dies on the operating table. And according to Kanye West, he says, my mother was sacrificed. And I think that there is a misunderstanding. People are mistaking the exposure of the demonic realm for just a mental break. No, I'm not saying there aren't any mental challenges there. I'm not saying that. But if you think this is just an issue of mental illness and you are not listening to what is actually being said and the level of exposure of the satanic realm, then you are misunderstanding what's taking place. You are not recognizing what has transpired and what is continuing to transpire. We just saw again, Aaron Carter, dead. We just saw again, another very, very famous rapper was killed at a bowling alley while they were at billiards and bowling in Houston. And there is a mysterious gunman that they spotted that comes up behind him and kills him. He is not even the aggressor. He is not even the one in the argument. And yet he is the one that is targeted and murdered. This stuff is, in the Western world, in the United States of America and other westernized countries, we don't talk about altars. We don't talk about sacrifices. We don't talk about the fact that when you want to service an altar, there must be a sacrifice. And oftentimes the sacrifice has to be something you love. It has to be something you treasure. It has to be something you value. And so we have a situation where Christians are oblivious to the spiritual world. They think because these conservative theologians are telling you it's all about reading scriptures, and I believe in reading the scriptures, but the scriptures talk about the spiritual world. You can't just talk about it's about apologetics and you got conferences where these old men are sitting there and these old men are just kind of sitting there and not just debating over Bible verses. And we think that is what the church is called to do. When in reality, the church is called to confront darkness. And this is why Jesus said, upon this rock I will build my church. And we often forget where that comment was made in Matthew 16. Jesus made that declaration in the Pan, which was a demonic altar. Jesus makes the comment. He makes the bold declaration that upon this rock I will build my church and the gates of hell will not prevail against it. He makes this bold declaration at one of the most demonic locations in the first century, the Temple of Pan, where all kinds of sacrifices were being made. And he was telling us then that, listen, if you're going to be the church, if the church is going to be the church cannot be ignorant. The church cannot be ignorant. The church cannot be ignorant of these spiritual realities, that there are altars. And some of you don't realize that the reason why your life is going the way that it's going is because there is an altar somewhere that needs to be confronted. There is an altar somewhere. When people want wealth, when they want success, when they want prosperity, when they want promotion, when they want fame, they seek an altar. They seek an altar. And they make sacrifices upon these altars. I'm telling you, I've said it before. When we talk about abortion in America is not a political issue. It's a spiritual issue. Abortion is child sacrifice. These are altars that are being serviced with the blood of unborn children. Altars that are being serviced with the blood of the unborn. And so we see that these altars are connected to the outcomes. If you go to these communities where Planned Parenthood and all of these organizations are stationed, and all of these places have been erected in urban communities, in poor areas, in disenfranchised communities, these are the places where these sacrifices are being made, and they are thriving on the poor and the ignorant. You saying, well, no, I don't believe nothing you say. It doesn't matter what you believe. Let me tell you something. Whether you agree with Kanye West or not, whether you like him or not, is totally irrelevant. The relevant issue is what he's saying correct? And in this regard, there is absolute truth to the fact that people are being sacrificed. Celebrities are being sacrificed. Children are being sacrificed. Leaders are being sacrificed in service to evil altars. And what is happening, you got to understand this. The power of a people is determined by the strength and the purity of their altar. And this is why even in the Bible, what did God do? Anytime God raised up a leader in Israel, he raised up a judge, raised up a prophet, raised up a king, the first thing he would tell them to do is tear down the high places. Go and tear down the Ashtar poles. Go and tear down the altars of Molech and the altars of Baal. Tear them down. Because if you don't tear them down, the devil will have a spiritual stronghold over the nation. He will have a spiritual stronghold over the people. And I believe, on a personal note, we need to pray for Kanye West. Not just judge him and criticize him and make fun of him. We need to pray for him, because what is actually happening in his pain and in his frustration, he is trying to expose realities that many of us don't understand. And so he sounds just cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. But in reality, the brother is trying to tell you things that you don't understand. When you get to the billionaire level, when you get to the celebrity status that he is at, there are things that people do that you can't even conceive of. There are actors that have come out and told us that before they could get the gig, before they could get that role, before they could get that contract, they had to do all